Math 76, Lesson 113, Ratio Problems with Totals. So, to do this, we are going to have to learn a new little chart that I'm going to show you right now. So the way that this chart works is we're going to have the ratio number, and then that will be separate from the actual number, right? And then it's going to be split into 3 parts, right? And depending on the problem, we'll be able to fill in this chart. Oh, excuse me. Had a bit of a sneeze. All right, yeah, so depending on what the problem is, we'll be able to fill in the words or the values in this chart. Oh, wait, sorry, I forgot one thing. This bottom row will always be total, right? And then we'll have part A and then part B, right? So let's do an example problem. They tell me the ratio of boys to girls in the class was 5:4. If there were 27 students in the class, how many girls were there? Right? So our goal is I want to fill in this chart for the missing number that they're looking for. Okay? So the ratio, they tell me, of boys to girls was 5:4. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to label my parts A and B. This is now boys, this is now girls. And then the total still stays as the total, and the ratio they said was 5:4, so for every 5 boys there are 4 girls. Now here's the other thing they tell me. They say if there were 27 students in the class, how many girls were there? Okay, so 27 students, that's one of the actual numbers, and if they're saying students, then that 27 is referring to the total students. 27 students actually. All right, so now how in the world can I fill in the rest of this chart? Well, the first thing is the first part of the chart is really simple, is that these 2 columns must always add up to equal the 3rd column, right? So whatever numbers go here and here, they have to add up to 27. Whatever numbers are here and here have to add up to the total number. So I can find out this number right now. 5 plus 4 is 9. Got it, right? Now, how can I figure out the other 2 numbers? Well, the cool thing is I don't actually have to figure out the other 2 numbers. I just have to figure out the number that the problem is asking me for. So first thing you want to do is make sure all 3 of your ratio numbers are there. Once you've got all your ratio numbers and you have one of your actual numbers, then you ask yourself, okay, what are they asking for? So they want to know how many girls there were. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my X on the number of girls because that's the number I'm looking for. Once I figure out what I'm looking for, I can then put a line through the column I'm not using. Right, so I don't need that column. I don't need the column of boys since they are asking for girls. Now the last thing I do is I write this as a proportion. I take the 4, the 9, the X, and the 27, and I write it as a proportion. So I'm going to write that over here. It's just going to be 4 over 9 equals X over 27. Right? So quick recap. First, we make our chart. We fill in all of the ratio numbers. Once we have all the ratio numbers and one actual number, we find out what we're looking for. Once we know what we're looking for, we cross out what we don't need, and then we set up a proportion. Now let's solve this proportion. And we should be using cross multiplication. That's something we should be getting pretty good at by now. So now I see that 9 times X is equal to 4 times 27. Remember, I don't multiply these numbers because sometimes it's a lot faster if you don't. The next step is going to be divide by 9. So let's divide by 9, that cancels. And here I can cancel the 9 and the 27. That's a 1, that's a 3. So now I just do 4 times 3, which gives me a final answer of 12. So the number of girls is 12. So 12 girls. All right. That's it for this lesson. And you know, actually one thing is it's not always going to be the top row that gets canceled out, right? It could be the middle row, it could be the bottom row, right? So the way that you know which row to cancel out is that is going to be the number that you don't have filled in, right? Because you'll have 2 of these 3 numbers and you'll have to do addition or subtraction to find the missing one. And then you'll have one of these 3 numbers given to you, right? So that's why I say you have to find all 3 of these first, fill in one of the actual numbers, and then ask what they're looking for. Once you find out what they're looking for, you put a letter there, and then the column that has the blank box, cross that one out, right? So That's how you know how to do that. It's not always going to be the top. It could be the middle or the bottom. That's it for this lesson. If you guys have any questions, let me know on the school website, and I will see you in class.